Hello, my name is Joy, and I like to keep all my negative emotions in so that when I have an evening alone with my husband, I can have an emotional meltdown and ruin everything. Hi again, everyone. We're going to talk today about another INFJ weakness, which is bottling up negative emotions and then exploding, or in my case, having core meltdown. I'm getting to the end of my list of INFJ weaknesses, so maybe soon we can talk about things about us that are good, that are strengths for our personality. We'll see where it leads. But anyway, this was one of the things on my list, and it was planned for this week, and very fitting because this weekend, a few days ago, I had a meltdown, and I don't have them terribly often, but my husband did remind me in the 20 years that he's been with me that this is a pattern for me. I seem to stay pretty stable, and then something will set me off and I will have a complete meltdown. So why I keep it bottled up, negative emotions, why do I not express negative emotions, keep them bottled up so that I can then later have a meltdown? I've spoken about it before, but I really like to keep peace and harmony and feel peaceful and keep, my environment feeling peaceful. And of course, negative emotions of my own don't feel peaceful, and sharing them with other people would maybe make them feel negative, and then then that's disruptive to that harmony. So I want to keep the peace, and I want to make everyone around me feel good, because then if my environment feels good, then I feel good. But eventually that bottle, if we're bottling it up, that bottle gets full, and then it has to go somewhere, because if I have been angry, disappointed, sad, frustrated, and I've never actually felt it, I've just pushed it aside and pushed it down and down and down and filled this bottle up, and then it gets full. What happens is then a small thing that is a lot of times unrelated that upsets me will set it off, and then I will go into this ridiculous crying, sobbing, yelling, meltdown. That's just really seems like it's uncontrollable. So what happened this weekend is, all of my children were gone for the night, and that would mean that my husband and I would be alone. And, if you have children and you're married, if you have an evening alone, then that's really a rare thing. So it's kind of nice to spend some time together and do some things. And, so what happened is my husband suggested that we do something different than we normally would do. And I wasn't too excited about that, because I like routine. I like things to feel normal. I like everything the same. I like to do the same thing every time, go the same places and be boring. And he's more adventurous, and he wants to do different things and try different things and go different places and, have adventures. So when I wasn't agreeing with him that that's what we should do, then we kind of started to have not an argument, but a discussion about it. And for some reason that just triggered for me to have a meltdown. So I started to cry, and then I just went into meltdown mode. And then even though, it started out being about, let's try something different, it turned into I was a lot of different things. My mind was telling me, after I started crying, it was more about just this conversation. It was about everything. I was insignificant. I wasn't good enough. I wasn't enough for him. I because I like things boring, that, you know, maybe he would want somebody else. Maybe somebody else would be more interesting than me. Then it was about, you know, losing my dad and my relationship with the rest of my family. And oh my goodness. And it went on and on and on. And, you know, all of that got twisted into every negative emotion that I've dealt with, or haven't dealt with, I should say, haven't dealt with since my last meltdown. And, yeah. So it's normally when that happens, you know, it frightens me. I don't like it. I want it to stop. And I've learned in a way to get it to stop is generally to make myself busy. So my brain was saying, just get up and do the dishes. Just start vacuuming the floor, even though I vacuumed earlier in the day. You know, just start working on something so that you're not going to just sit here and waste time crying, because it was, you know, the kind of crying that is like sobbing uncontrollably. And it's really scary when it gets to that point, because I feel like, you know, I should have control over this and I should not, you know, let it get to this point. So I'm wanting to feel my feelings and not do this meltdown thing anymore. So I decided, instead of to listen to my instinct of to get up and stop myself from doing it, to just let it happen. So it was dark outside. I went outside and I sat down on the steps of our camper and I just let it go. And it was scary, and it just kept going. At one point my husband asked me to come in the house, which of course I yelled no at him. He doesn't really know what to do when I'm like that, so he kind of just stays away from me, because I'm usually not very nice to him when I'm like that. So I just let it go and go and go, and I cried and cried and cried. And then my dog, my little Chico, my, you know, emotional support dog, he growled at something in the woods. So then I decided it was time to go in the house, and it had been an hour, so I decided, okay, that's enough. So then I, you know, turned on a video and decided to shut it off. So I did. But yeah, that's my story of how I ruined the evening. So then obviously we had no plans. We didn't get to do anything good together, because I cried the whole evening, and then I basically went to bed, and we did discuss it the next morning. But yeah, that evening I pretty much ruined it by having an emotional meltdown. But here is what I think, you know, I'm trying to do about this. Well, what can we do about bottling up our negative emotions and then having a, you know, explosion? Some people have like an explosion of emotions. For me, I just have, you know, where I disintegrate. What I'm trying to do now is, when I have something come in, you know, when I feel something, when I feel sad or angry or frustrated, I try to actually feel it at the time that it comes in, you know, like maybe normal people do. I don't know. You guys have to tell me, is that what normal people do? Do they feel it at the time, or do they decide I'm going to do that later, and then later never comes? So I'm going to try to feel it at the time. And I've been getting better about doing this. You know, when I'm upset about something, be like, okay, I recognize this. This is how I feel about it. Emotions are healthy. They're all healthy. There aren't some that are just safer than others and okay to feel. So I'm going to feel it at the time. I am going to talk about it. You know, talk about it with maybe the person that is frustrating me. Talk about to someone else why I'm feeling sad today, if it's somebody that I can talk to. You know, for some people it's helpful to write those things down, especially if it's like a spiraling thought pattern, to write it out so you can get it out of your head. And sometimes tell people what the problem is. You know, if I come home from work every day and I'm frustrated because the counter is covered in, you know, everybody's backpack contents and dirty dishes, if I never say anything, then eventually, you know, by the 18th day in a row, I come home and then, you know, start crying while I'm washing the dishes. Nobody knows what's going on. They're thinking, why is mom so crazy? Because I never told them. So in that moment, I need to say, I really would like this to be cleaned off when I get home. And then I need to stop putting other people's emotional health in front of mine, because I can only control my own emotions. And the fact that I voice what I need and what I would like, if that upsets somebody else, I can't do anything about that. So I need to take care of my own emotional health and let other people, let my loves take care of their own emotional health. That doesn't mean I get to be a jerk. I still have to be kind, but I do need to voice what I need and what I expect and why I'm frustrated or why I'm sad or why I'm having a rough day. So guys, I hope that was helpful to you. I'm a little embarrassed that I shared what my weekend was like, and it was not one that I could have filmed. It was just a complete nuclear meltdown, ridiculous. And I feel better that I let it go as long as I did, that I actually got some things out, and maybe my brain processed away a few things, and they're going to stay away now. But yeah, I need to feel things in the moment. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.